Okay, my name is Bryant Ortega. This is the full tune-up tutorial following my instruction set. Here we see the tools that we're going to be using today. Okay, right now we're under the Jeep Cherokee that we're going to be working on. I have my tool set next to me, the drain pan, right there, ready to go. First thing that you're going to do is you're going to want to find your actual oil pan. On the Jeep Cherokee, it's gonna be this one right here. So this is the actual oil pan, and then if you move the camera over here a little bit, you can see that the drain plug is right here. Okay, so what we're gonna start off doing is we're gonna find the size of the socket that we need so that we can actually remove this drain plug. So we're gonna go with a 5/8 in the Imperials. So you grab your socket, you attach it, make sure it's in loosening mode. This is to tighten, so we're gonna switch it to loosen it up. Attach it, and then you remove the drain plug. Okay, so this is something optional, but because it's kind of tough to get it loose, what we're doing is we call it a breaker bar. There's various tools for it, but this is pretty much just a regular tube. It's longer than usual, and it makes it easier to get loose. Basically, at this point, you can remove it by hand. You're gonna want to put the pan up so that you catch as much as you can, but start loosening it. And once you feel like there's no more thread, you're gonna very quickly remove the drain plug because it's gonna come out very fast and you wanna catch as much as you can. And then you just let it drain. And then while this is draining, you can clean the drain plug with your shop towels, but you wanna make sure, you wanna watch the oil. You want to make sure it's falling in the drain pan. You don't want to make too much of a mess. But the next step is going to be that you're going to put the drain plug back after cleaning it. And all you're going to do is with your hand, you're just going to hand tighten it as much as you can. And then once you can't tighten it with your hand anymore, you're going to grab your ratchet and your socket and just going to give it a good little tighten. You're not going to want to tighten it too much. Just tighten it until you can't really tighten it as much anymore. So while you're under there, you're gonna want to position the drain pan right under the oil filter so that when you actually extract the oil filter, all of the oil that will come out of it will fall in there so you don't make as much of a mess. When it comes to the oil filter on a 2000 Jeep Cherokee, those are going to be on the left hand side, and it's going to be this little guy right here. Yeah, in terms of getting it out, you're just going to want to loosen it. Sometimes you can get it out with your hands. Other times you're going to need tools, but I mean, you can always check. You can always check to see if you can get it off with your hands, and in this case, we can't, so we're going to go get our tools. You're going to position the actual band around the oil filter, and then you're gonna pull to the point where it has a snug fit on it, and then you just kind of pull, and as you can see, it's coming loose. At this point, you should be able to take it off by hand. The drain pan is positioned right under the oil filter so that it catches everything. But at this point, just take it off. Okay. And this is where you want to get a plastic bag and put your old oil filter in it. Okay, we have our oil filter right here. And then you're just going to put it in the plastic bag. Okay, So now, once you've taken out the old oil filter, you're gonna want to grab your new oil filter. Get it out of the box. You see it. And then what you're gonna want to do is you just want to grab your finger, and from the old oil, you're gonna dip it into the old oil, which we have down here. You're gonna dip your finger just a little bit, and you're just gonna apply some of that old oil on this seal right here. Okay, after you've grabbed a little bit of the old oil and put it around, you're gonna crack open your new oil. But you grab your new oil, and because the oil filter on this truck is horizontal, you're gonna want to fill the oil filter to about maybe halfway on the actual filter itself. Just a little bit. Drop oil filter in here. And remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So now we're gonna put oil in it. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna want to unscrew the engine oil cap right here. So just to the left. And then I'm gonna use the funnel just because I prefer to maximize my oil and I tend to make spills. So I'm gonna place my funnel right here. You're gonna grab your oil, and then you're just gonna pour. I'm gonna pour it in. You can always check how much oil is in your car by pulling out the engine oil dipstick. I'm just gonna pull it out, give it a little clean with the another little wipe. You can put it back in. Let it sit for a bit, and you pull it back out, and then you should be able to see how much oil is on there. And as you can tell, we are okay. Okay, now we have our old oil right here. That should be everything, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna pour the old oil into the oil container. Okay, so now that we've already changed the oil filter and everything in this vehicle, the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna exchange the spark plugs. Now this Jeep in particular doesn't need new spark plugs, but I'm still gonna walk you guys through on how to do it. Now, the first thing that you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to remove the coil pack. This bar that you see right here. The spark plugs are gonna be underneath this coil pack. So we're gonna have to remove 4 bolts to loosen up the coil pack and then finally be able to take it up. Okay, well, once you take out the bolts, in order to take out the coil pack itself, there's a plug right here. And what you're supposed to do is, there's a little red tab in the back. Let me see if I can actually show it. That little red tab, you're supposed to pull it out. You're gonna grab your hand and you're just gonna pull up on it. Take the little red tab. Do not lose it. Once you pull the little red tab out, you should be able to just pull the plug out and unplug it. Once you actually unplug the coil pack, you can just pull the coil pack out, and obviously there's a lot of things in the way. So you're just gonna do your best to get it. Okay, in terms of pulling it out, I found that grabbing it from this end and then pulling up successfully manages to get the coil pack out. Once you have the coil pack out, you can actually see the spark plugs themselves. They're gonna be on the side, the left-hand side of the engine, and they're just gonna be yeah, those. And from this point, all you're gonna do is you're gonna go one by one, replace each spark plug. So if we come over here, we have a socket specific for spark plugs. Basically, it just has like a little rubber piece on the inside and it just holds onto it. So you're gonna grab your socket, put it on your ratchet, actually grab an extension. That way you can, well, you might need an extension, you might not, it just depends. And then you're just gonna go one by one. You're gonna try to stay, you're gonna squeeze it in, but you're gonna try to stay as straight as possible. And then you're just gonna loosen it, take it out, and then you're gonna grab your new spark plugs and you're gonna apply anti-seize on them. This is what it looks like. This is what we use. And then pretty much you're gonna apply a pretty light coat. I wouldn't put too much, but you're just gonna put it on the thread. You don't want to get it anywhere near the actual like spark plug area. Just try to keep it on the thread. And as soon as you do that, you grab your anti-seized spark plug, and then by hand I would just right here, and then whichever one you're replacing, put it in, try to remain as straight as possible, and then hand tighten it, and then you grab your socket and you just slightly tighten it a little bit. You don't want to over tighten these spark plugs, but okay, yeah. Once you replace all of your spark plugs, then you're just gonna grab your coil pack, and once again you're gonna try your best to maneuver it back in between these hoses. Okay, well, once you have the coil pack in, after that you just want to bolt everything down. But when you're bolting the actual coil pack down, instead of going down the line, what you're going to want to do is almost like if you're finding the median. All right, so once again, just to demonstrate, basically the way you want to tighten these, I already have the bolts in, but pretty much rather than going down the line, you want to do this one and then this one. All right, tighten it, and then you do this one over here, a little bit, and then this one, and then you repeat the process until each one is tightened. It's all tightened down, and then that's how you get the coil pack. So after you bolt in the coil pack and everything, you're gonna want to plug it back in before putting the actual tab in. And once that's together, grab the little red tab and you reinsert it. Just one quick note, the red tab will go on the left hand side, so when you're feeling for the spot that the red tab goes in, it will be on the left hand side and it will go in right away. Once we're done with the coil pack, the next thing I'm going to do in the full tune-up is the air filter. On a Jeep Cherokee, this is where the air filter is located. All you're going to do is, there's some clips on the side. I already went ahead and I took them out. You're going to do 1, 2, and then there's one back here. And then you pull back and up. And then this is where the air filter is. Keep in mind the actual direction, the orientation of the air filter. You want to put it in the same exact way. This is already the new air filter. Now all you have to do is close the air filter box. And what I like to do is I like to kind of place it and then turn a little bit to actually get these tabs that are right here into the slots that are found on the side of the box. So once you get the tabs into the slots and everything, push it forward, make sure the air filter is positioned everywhere, and then you just put these clips back. Right. And then that's it. You're done with the full tune-up for a Jeep Cherokee.